Welcome, traveller, to my slick and mossy glade. What wonders and mysteries await you there? What creatures and peril? I am Bellendor, your guide on this adventure. Prepare your potions of endurance and sharpen thine axe as we once more explore the mysteries of the Dungeons & Dragons universe. Dwarves. Short, bad-tempered and bearded, stingy, heavy drinking, and prone to holding a grudge. Dwarves are basically your dad. Often found living beneath mountains, dwarves typically sustain their economies by mining for precious stones, and in doing so, carve deep underground cities within the rock. They are quintessential basement dwellers, and spend their time grumbling loudly about how fairy tales these days have too many females in them. Years of living underground have blessed the dwarves with great strength, the ability to see in the dark, and a skull thick enough to headbutt a cow to death. In fact, as part of their coming-of-age ceremonies, dwarves will often travel to the overworld, find a cow, and headbutt it until it dies. A somber and dignified ritual for everyone, except the cow. Because of their rough existence, there are few fiercer in combat than the dwarves. Their hardy constitutions, coupled with their deeply ingrained inferiority complex, mean that, should you look at them, they will definitely ask you what the fuck you are looking at. Should you answer incorrectly, they will, due to their convenient size, more than likely punch you in the dick. In battle, a dwarf will typically wield an axe, hammer, or some other weapon that takes advantage of their straightforward approach to hitting things with other things until they break. Dwarfs are as hard, tough, and charismatic as the rock they dwell within. The dwarves' fondness for ale is renowned throughout the realms. This is because dwarven women are equally as unattractive as dwarven men, and without a great deal of alcohol, ain't nobody waking up next to that. The life expectancy of a dwarf is hundreds of years, and they are hardy against disease and sickness. In fact, their constitution is so robust that they are denied even the option of drinking themselves to death. This is why dwarves are so bad-tempered. While they certainly save on healthcare costs, their pension schemes are frankly atrocious. This also explains the dwarven reputation for tight-fistedness. It is known that money can't buy happiness, and so dwarfs invest heavily in misery, which has a longer return on investment. It is said that for all their skill in stonework, even the most talented dwarf could not repair the chip on his shoulder. Anyone playing a dwarf can be sure of a character that lends itself well to standing in front of something and hitting it. What dwarfs lack in dexterity, grace, charisma, and basic likability, they more than make up for in being a dwarf. Famous cinematic dwarves include Gimli, star of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Gimli spends most of his time doing what dwarves do best, complaining and twatting a bastard. He is unusual amongst dwarfs in that his companions can stand to be around him for more than an hour at a time. Tyrion Lannister. Despite being a dwarf in the heroic fantasy setting of Game of Thrones, Tyrion is not technically a dwarf. He is a human. As such, he is merry, witty, and a pleasure to be around, while not being much good at fighting or hard work of any sort. As such, he is sort of an anti-dwarf, which is ironic because he actually is a dwarf, just not a dwarf. He is drunk though, so they got that part right. The 7 dwarfs: grumpy, sleepy, angry, super angry, proletariat, fetal alcohol syndrome, and Doc. These are the dwarfs that await Snow White in the magical forest. They agree to let her live with them, for, I am sure, entirely innocent reasons. And so once more we come to the end of our tale. But let our conversation continue in ye old comments section. Have you ever been beaten up by a dwarf? Or insulted by a dwarf? Are you tired of arguing with dwarfs and wish they would just leave you alone? Let us know. In the meantime, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. For as the wizard said to the halfling, you look prettier with your mouth open.